All right, YouTube, I got one for you. I just this week received the Condor primitive sequoia knife, which, as far as all the testing I've done so far, this is probably the absolute best camp knife I've ever seen. Now, a couple things right off the bat. The handle, now I've got huge hands. The handle is plenty long. You can choke back here for extra chopping power. It's natural linen micarta, so it's nice and grippy. It's got beautiful brass hollow pins. And for bushcrafting, something about this primitive knife design, a couple different things that are really good. First thing is that the cutting edge comes all the way down to the handle, so that when you need to choke up on this handle to do fine work, that edge comes all the way down here. I think that's brilliant. Blade thickness. It's thinner than most choppers this size. You know, like an SC Junglist is a slab of steel. This knife is much thinner, but the wideness of it still makes it an extremely effective chopper. The tip is kind of dropped down just a little, which puts it right in line with the handle. So it's good for drilling holes if you need to bore a hole into something. Now, I saw several reviews on YouTube where they would use the knife basically as a hatchet and then get edge damage. Now, I very much like this knife, so I don't want to damage it on purpose. But I came out to my wood pile here and got this piece of firewood, about 2.5 inches thick or so, and just chopped at it. And this piece of wood, you don't know it now, but where this sharp tip was, this piece of wood came down and had a big knot sticking out right here. So I cut through that, cut it away. No edge damage. I don't know what the other people on YouTube, what they're doing to their knife to damage it, because yeah, it's only 1075 steel, but I mean, the edge is perfect still. It's got kind of a, I don't know what you would call that. You know, it's not exactly a saber grind. It's like a little bit of a convex saber grind. Now on this piece of this, and now this is oak wood, so it is very hard. You see where this is? This was a knot on this piece of wood. Had another knot in it. So I cut clean through that, just chopping like a hatchet, because, you know, oak knots, if you're going to damage your edge, it's going to be cutting through a knot on a piece of oak. The edge has no rolls, no chips, no deviations. It's beautiful. This is the Condor primitive sequoia knife. Comes with a really nice, thick, heavy-duty leather sheath. There's no snaps or anything. It just kind of hugs in the sheath, you know. But the length of this knife makes it a great chopper. You get a good bite. That kind of like compound saber grind is great for fine work. It is still razor sharp even after all that cutting. Now, I have fancy sharpening equipment. I have belt grinders and all this. And this knife, I actually just gave it a few pulls through a Smith pull-through sharpener. Little $5 sharpener you get at Walmart. I just gave it a couple pulls on the ceramic side because the blade does have a very thin clear coat. And about 3 or 4 swipes through the ceramic rods, it removed the clear coat from the edge and exposed that razor sharp edge. I think if somebody is going to go do some wilderness surviving type stuff and they say, okay, well, I'm only bringing one knife, this would probably be the knife. It is nice and wide for chopping. It's nice and thin, so it's not dreadfully heavy. It's nice and springy, so that, you know, as you're chopping and stuff, it really gets a good bite. With that drop tip, you can drill holes, and with this beautiful belly on this blade, I mean, it's just a natural born slicer. You know, you can slice if you were processing some meat or some fish or vegetables, whatever it is, you know, food prep. You can see the shape of this blade lends itself very nicely to even just kitchen work. Very good blade. I would highly recommend this as a survival type knife. 1075 carbon steel, so yeah, it's not 1095, but from what I'm seeing so far, after, you know, all these chips here is from me just chopping. You know, there's not a knife out there that is meant to be a hatchet. So if you get a knife like this that you can use as a hatchet from time to time and receive no damage, you know, that's going to get my stamp of approval. Really like the knife, highly recommend, and thanks. Enjoy.